Well, we got a surprise Amazon drop today on, I guess, what we could call a Transformer Thursday instead. A big one, something that we talked about a few weeks ago, this surprise Mayhem Attack Squad collection. There was 3 different 2-packs, and now we got all of this shown to us, at least most of it. And we're going to talk about it here today on the Transformer Slag podcast. Let you know if this is the best value for you. Is it worth it? Is it cool? What's going on here? The deep cuts and everything like that. So let's jump into it right away because there's a lot to cover here. Stuff is already getting sold out as we speak, which is kind of a shame, but let's talk about the Transformers Legacy United Doom and Destruction Collection Mayhem Attack Squad. Man, that is a mouthful. So the first one we're going to cover is the Transformers Legacy United Doom and Destruction Collection Mayhem Attack Squad 3-pack, Chop Shop, and Barrage. And what they don't list here is the third member of that 3-pack, the Micromaster Wrecker Malleus Minotaurus. Wow. That's actually Latin. Malleus Minotaurus is Latin for hammer minotaur. Oh, yeah. So this is the one I was really excited about when we saw the listings. It gives us more deluxe Insecticons, something to join your ransack that you got from your Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack. And man, it looks really good. It looks really, really good. I'll start with Chop Shop. Chop Shop uses this clever use of molding. It has a brand new head. It has brand new pincers. And it uses those 5mm pegs that are on the forearms of Shrapnel to kind of have extra, added molding that you can make an accessory on the side of the tooling in the factory and then plug it on to make some kind of unique insect legs. And these 2 new pieces that were obviously probably on the sprue from day one are now plugged in to give it a unique deluxe Insecticon Chop Shop look. Looks amazing. Looks amazing. It's amazing how just, new head, new pincers in the front and those little legs. And it creates a whole new dynamic and silhouette and is so close to the original toy in a lot of ways. It's hard to see in the bug mode, but you could also see like on his butt there, it has the IDW 2019 styled Mayhem emblem. So that's kind of a big deep cut going into that stuff, which we'll get into in a moment with the other characters too. And speaking of deco, I love how they used the shoulders of Shrapnel's sculpt to kind of mimic the big red bug eyes that the original 1985 Deluxe Insecticon Chop Shop had. So they painted those shoulders red, and it just looks cool in the alt mode. I mean, very, very clever use of engineering and painting and everything like that to pull this off. Looks really good. Comes with all 3 guns that Shrapnel came with. Nothing that really looks like the gun or that spike sword weapon that the original Chop Shop came with. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers at this point. I'm just happy to have this character updated proper in the modern age after a few like mid-range attempts in the mid-2000s. So this is super cool. Very happy. Again, kind of have a bias to Chop Shop. He was the first ever Insecticon anything toy I ever owned back in the day. So pretty cool. Really like him a lot. And yeah, love it. Now let's talk about Barrage. Barrage, much like Chop Shop, gets the job done with a new head sculpt, a retooled chest, which leads to it also being the horn of his bug mode, and of course using those 5mm pegs again on his forearms with some new sculpted bug legs. The new chest is really smart too because it folds up to like make it very accurate to how the original G1 toy did the chest design. So it's amazing how this one really, when you put it side by side with the mold that it came from, which was the bombshell from Legacy Evolution, you could really see how, wow, there's a lot going on here that makes it look very distinctly different. And I mean, I love that even on that horn, they have the little bug eyes that are painted in, all the nice little detail, looks really good. And same thing like the Chop Shop, if you look carefully, you could see that Mayhem emblem on his body. So that's pretty cool too. Comes with weapons that were the molded counterparts, of course, of Bombshell also. So you don't have his yellow sword, but the gun that Bombshell has, they did it obviously in a green color wave this time around. And if you remove those side blasters, it kind of looks like his original gun that the original G185 toy had. So pretty good. Definitely of the 2, in my opinion, the big winner. I mean, he looks great. Even though I love Chop Shop, this one looks fantastic and really great to see an update of him. And then rounding off this 3-pack, unexpectedly, was a little bit of an extra. This Micromaster Wrecker's Malleus Minotaurus, as he is called. Again, the Hammer Minotaur in Latin. So this is a straight up repaint of the Siege, later Earthrise Battlemaster Smashdown, which was this hammer that turned into some kind of bull character. I always thought it was kind of an homage to The Rock and SmackDown and the Brahma Bull and everything, but that's a whole other story. Since this figure never really got a repaint in its like history of molding, I guess it was due to get something, and they figured why not do it here. I feel that it might be a bit of a deep cut character. So on the robot mode, on his forehead, he sports the Solus Prime emblem. That emblem was kind of first introduced to us with Power of the Primes, with all the other primes, and it was featured on the Prime Masters, on the packaging, on the trading cards. And so it has Solus's Prime emblem on his forehead. He turns into a hammer. So is it implying that it's a sentient version of the Forge of Solus that Solus Prime used? Is it implied instead, if it's not the Forge of Solus, is it implied to be that pet that Liege Maximo gave Solus in the Covenant of Primus book? Because he gave him a pet, and we never really knew what that pet was, and there was a bit of a story with that. So is it that related? I mean, very interesting. And then you add to the fact, and this is where you get even more deeper, when you add to the fact that the Solus Prime Master, which had that emblem on it, was used with the Octopunch decoy armor in the Power of the Primes toy line. And considering that Octopunch is one of the head members of Mayhem in the IDW 2019 continuity, wow, that's a full circle deep cut there. I mean, there's a lot going on there. A lot going on. And this thing, too, also comes with 2 blast effects. So it's a nice little 3-pack of figures with a lot of interesting stuff going on. And in my opinion, and we always talk about speculation of value and long-term investment, this is going to be a must-have, without a doubt. This is something where I don't really see Hasbro revisiting at least those 2 characters for quite a while. And I feel that the long-term value of this set will go up significantly. Considering that as of this recording, it's sold out in 14 minutes. It was 14 minutes live on Hasbro Pulse and was gone. As of this recording, it's still available on Amazon, which is what it's supposed to be on, which makes sense because a lot of people are confused by that. But Hasbro did a statement a while back saying that when they do partnership stuff with companies, they always get a limited quantity of them, and that's 5%, which is very small. So who knows, maybe they get 200 units, maybe 300 units, and that could disappear very quickly. So within 14 minutes, it was sold out. So props to this set. And again, if you got that Ransack from the Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack, you need to get this. You're going to be slowly completing your collection. And, we know that we're going to be getting a Venom at some point in the future because we saw those listings online. So at some point in the future, we're going to have all 4 of our G1 1985 Deluxe Insecticons updated. And that's pretty cool. So this is going to be $54.99, planned to ship out August 1st, 2024. So not too long from now, you'll get these in your hands. In terms of value right now for buying it for $54.99, I think the value is right on the money. I mean, deluxes right now are $24.99, so $25. Battle Masters before they were phased out in 2020 were about $5.99, so no doubt they would have suffered from inflation also. So probably let's estimate like maybe they would have been like $7-8 today. So when you look at it, $50, you tack on the $7-8, you're actually saving a little bit when you think. You buy this little set, you get the 2 deluxes, 1 Battle Master, which would have been, let's say $58. This is $54.99, $55. You're saving a couple bucks, you get this great figure, and I guarantee this is going to go up in value, this set. This is going to be very popular with completists later on. So fantastic stuff. Really love this set. And let's move on to the next one. Probably the weaker of the 2, but I do have some biases with this one, which I'll get into in a moment. The Transformers Legacy United Doom and Destruction Collection Mayhem Attack Squad. Man, this is a long name. Breakdown and Windsweeper 2-pack. And this is an actual 2-pack. No surprise, third guy added here. So first up, when we got this listing, and we talked about it here on the podcast, the listing for it said knockout with Windsweeper. And I'm kind of glad that that wasn't the case, because when I talked about it, I was kind of confused at what they could have done with that knockout. I mean, we already got a Transformers Legacy version of Knockout, which pretty much did the job. So where would they have gone that could be different than that one? I'm glad that they went with his partner in that of Breakdown from Transformers Prime, and gave him a proper update, because the last real proper update we got was kind of like that, and I wouldn't even call it an update, but when we had that Hasbro Pulse 10th anniversary reissue, which is a fantastic way to get that mold, and probably the best version of that character in terms of plastic figurines. But this is nice that we got some kind of update. Of course, it's a straight up repaint with a brand new head sculpt of the bulkhead, but there's actually a little wrinkle with that. You know, again, personally, I think it does a better job with that mold than the bulkhead. I think the bulkhead was kind of the weakest of the bunch in that Legacy line to begin with. So, but I think that there was some really forward thinking going on when that bulkhead was made all that while back. Again, for those who don't know, it was a Legacy Voyager class bulkhead figure. It has a brand new head sculpt on it, and it has an extra weapon that's included with it that originally was on the Amazon exclusive Wreckers bulkhead, that extra hammer weapon. So I think there was some forward thinking, because I think at some point they said, you know what, we're going to use this mold to be Breakdown, and Breakdown's been associated with a hammer in the past. So that's that's some unique tooling that really had a long form of thinking in the long run. And so Amazon exclusive hammer there, and they keep it for a future Amazon exclusive with this Breakdown. It makes me wonder, though, if maybe that Malleus Minotaurus was supposed to be in this set and not the other one, but then when they got the bulkhead mold and they saw the hammer on the sprue, they moved it over. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deeply into it. But I think it's a nice paint job. It conveys the character proper, and it's an update to the character, which, again, we haven't gotten in a very, very long time outside of a 10th anniversary release. If you look carefully on the body, it also has the Mayhem logo on the alt mode. It is what it is. If you want your Breakdown fix, no doubt you probably already got that 10th anniversary reissue version a while back. Otherwise, this is another version you could buy. It's not really based on anything that's been any form of fictional existence, I guess is the best way to put it. But it is based off of the Prime version. That's what it's trying to convey. So it's still pretty cool. I think it looks great. I've always felt that this mold could have also been retooled into, like, let's say, a Dark of the Moon Megatron or something. But it works here. But again, it's probably the weakest of the bunch that we're going to be talking about today. And lastly, we got Windsweeper. Oh, my beloved Windsweeper. Real talk for a moment. I have a bit of a bias with this character. I had a lot to do with his official, I guess, fictional background and everything, working on this character. When I worked on him during Combiner Wars and Hasbro Fun Publication stuff. So, love this character, and I love to see whenever there's updates of it. And this is a repaint of the Legacy Evolution Needle Nose mold with a brand new head sculpt. The moment you looked at that Needle Nose alt mode, that alt mode lends itself perfectly to a repaint of this character. It has a brand new head sculpt that matches that original 1988 TriggerCon. I love the use of the paint on the wings, on the chest, especially the chest paint that really tries to convey that original toy in a lot of ways. Just love what they did there. They really knocked it out of the park. They did what I pretty much expected they were going to do with those double Target Masters that came with Needle Nose. They pretty much just took those two Target Masters, painted them completely silver to kind of convey that silver chrome that the G1 TriggerCons had as guns. And at least in the case of him, but that's a whole other conversation. And now it looks like they're sentient guns. So Hasbro confusingly labels them as Micromasters, and then later in that same listing calls them Target Masters, called Ozone and Clean Sweep. But they're some kind of sentient TriggerCon weaponry. That's probably the best way to put it. And I just love that they made them both silver, and that's kind of nice. They could have ignored that and colored them up, but that's a nice touch, because then it looks really good in the alt mode. And when it's in that alt mode and you plug those two guns on there, or even that in the robot mode, it really conveys that TriggerCon Windsweeper look to it with the silver guns and stuff. So I love it a lot. I think it looks great. And, to me, it just kind of is a bonus, because then it opens it up to all kinds of other fictional stuff could be written about him later. Oh, he somehow surgically removed his TriggerCon guns and got Shockwave to turn them into sentient beings using, using the Allspark. Who knows? So many ways you could write that. But I dig it. I think it looks really cool. Again, he's carrying the weight of this 2-pack. And again, no shade thrown at Breakdown, but definitely a bit of a bias on my side. Let's put it that way. So this set is $59.99. And this is probably another slight against it. So $59.99 also ships out August 1st, 2024. But the problem here is value. So Deluxe, $24.99. Voyager, $33.99. That puts it to $59 flat, pretty much. This is asking $59.99. So you're actually paying $1 more, slightly more expensive than what you would have been paying in retail for these two characters if they were individual retail releases. So slightly more expensive, probably the weakest of the bunch thus far with the Breakdown. So that probably makes it a little more of a difficult conversation if you want to purchase it. Again, real talk, while these are sold out on Hasbro Pulse, they're still available on Amazon. Maybe they might end up going on clearance at some point. I'm just saying. Anyone trying to unload an extra Windsweeper, why don't you give me a call, though? I'll definitely be interested in that. But yeah, I dig it. I think it's still a pretty cool set. I'm going to try to get as many Windsweepers as I can, just because I have a bias for that. But it's pretty cool otherwise. And let me know what you think of that. We still have one set left to talk about, and it's one of the other listings that were part of the JT Prime 17 listings, and it was a Tra-Gen Mayhem Voyager Bludgeon with Deluxe Ruckus. Again, probably going to be a straight-up repaint of the Voyager class Legacy Evolution Bludgeon, maybe with comic book colors, and the Ruckus is probably a retool of the Deluxe class Legacy Evolution Beachcomber. We don't know yet. We have no info on it yet. Probably will be revealed maybe in the next couple of days now that we've seen these. But pretty exciting stuff. Let me know what you think. Very cool. And yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I dig it. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk again really soon here on the Transformer Slag podcast. And thank you for listening.